While the Moana films center around the titular character of Moana, there is a bunch of things that happen out of order. So, I'm here to change that and put things in a sort of chronological order based on the information we have about the series. Welcome to ChannelFrederator, this is the Moana Timeline, let's get started. 1,000 years before Moana. Te Fiti, the god of nature and a living island of her own, uses her heart, a magical glowing green stone, to create life in the ocean. However, Maui, a shape-shifting demigod, steals her heart to give humans the power of creation. This causes the island of Te Fiti to crumble, and in her place rises Te Ka, a volcanic demon who attacks Maui. During the fight, Maui loses both the heart and his magical fishhook to the ocean. The loss of Te Fiti's heart places a curse on the ocean, causing islands to wither, fish to disappear, and massive loss of life. The age of wayfinding before Moana. Long before Moana's birth, her ancestors are skilled navigators who travel the Pacific, discovering new islands and thriving as voyagers. It's also around this time that the people of the sea remain connected through the island of Motufetu, an island that serves as the central hub to all of the Pacific Islands. However, the storm god Nalo, a vengeful and envious god with a deep dislike of humans, sinks the legendary island of Motufetu and places a curse upon it. This act disconnects the oceanic people from each other and their home islands. During this time, Te Ka's growing influence spreads throughout the ocean, creating storms and hazards that further isolate the islands and amplify the fear of voyaging. Ocean communities begin to lose their ability to travel and connect, leading to a slow decline in their unity and cultural exchange. A few years before Moana. About 1,000 years after the events of Te Ka and Maui's battle, due to the spreading curse, storms, and dangerous seas, the ancestors of Moana's people stop voyaging and hide their canoes, choosing to settle on Motunui. This marks the beginning of their isolation from their heritage as wayfinders. By choosing to live on the island permanently, they turn to fishing and farming. As time passes, Moana's father, Tui, is born on Motunui. He grows up witnessing the safety and prosperity found on the island. However, one day, Tui and his friend attempt to venture beyond the reef. This ends in tragedy as the rough waters capsize their ship, causing Tui's friend to perish in the seas. This event shapes his view of the ocean and his reluctance to reconnect with it. Once Tui becomes chief of Motunui, he enforces a strict rule that nobody may venture beyond the reef. Around this time, Chief Tui marries Sina, and soon Moana is born. Moana's early childhood, before the events of Moana. Moana is raised on Motunui under her father's strict rules to stay away from the ocean. However, she often feels a deep pull towards the water, sensing a mysterious connection. One day, as a toddler, she rescues a baby turtle and guides it to safety to the sea. During this act, the ocean reveals itself to her for the first time, selecting her as its chosen one. It gives her the glowing green heart of Te Fiti, but takes it back, knowing she's not ready yet. Meanwhile, Grandma Tala, Tui's mother, becomes a crucial influence on Moana. Tala keeps the village's history and legends of Te Fiti alive through storytelling, encouraging Moana to remain curious about her ancestors' wayfinding heritage. Tala secretly preserves this knowledge, ensuring it's not forgotten. Returning the heart of Te Fiti. Moana. One night, Moana's grandmother Tala tells the tale of how Maui steals the heart of Te Fiti. It's through Grandma Tala that traditions of old are passed down to the new generation, including to Moana. One day, Moana finds herself on the shore. The ocean chooses her to return the heart of Te Fiti and gives her the magical green stone. As she grows up, Moana slowly learns how to become chief of the island. However, Te Fiti's curse finally reaches the island, and the island starts experiencing dying plants and a lack of fish. Moana suggests going beyond the reef to find food, but her father forbids it. She tries anyway, but her boat is wrecked by the rough sea. That night, her grandmother Tala shows her a hidden cave full of boats, revealing that their people were once voyagers. Tala explains that Maui's theft of Te Fiti's heart causes darkness to spread, and only returning the heart can fix it. Tala gives the heart to Moana and, before passing away, tells her to find Maui. Moana sets sail on a boat from the cave, unknowingly joined by her clumsy pet rooster, Hei. It's not all smooth sailing though, as a storm shipwrecks her on an island, the same island where Maui seems to be stranded on. Moana asks Maui for help, but instead of helping, Maui traps her in a cave before trying to leave on her boat. Cautionary lesson, never meet your idols. However, despite being trapped, Moana escapes the cave and confronts Maui. As they continue their voyage, they're attacked by Kakamora, coconut pirates, but manage to escape. Moana tells Maui he needs to return the heart to fix what he broke. Maui agrees after being convinced, but he says he first needs his magical fishhook, which is in the realm of monsters. They head for the realm of monsters, and there they find Tamatoa, a giant crab who has Maui's fishhook sitting on the back of his shell. Moana tries to distract Tamatoa while Maui retrieves the hook, but He struggles to control his shape-shifting powers, and they end up having a tussle with Tamatoa. After escaping Tamatoa's lair, Maui shares his past, and that he was abandoned by his parents as a baby, and that the gods gave him powers out of pity. Moana encourages him, which works, and in return, he teaches her how to navigate the ocean. During this time, they grow closer as they work together. When they reach Te Fiti, Taka attacks them. Despite this, Moana refuses to turn back, and because of this, Maui's hook is damaged in the fight. Fearing he'll lose his hook forever, Maui leaves. Feeling hopeless, Moana asks the ocean to find someone else to return the heart. But, in her time of desperation, one of the people Moana needs the most reappears, her grandmother's spirit. Tala's spirit reminds Moana of her purpose, and this in turn inspires Moana to keep going. Moana sails back to face Taka. Seeing this, Maui returns, having changed his mind, and helps Moana by distracting Taka, even though it destroys his beloved hook. During the battle, however, Moana realizes that Taka is actually Te Fiti, corrupted without her heart. She returns the heart, and Te Fiti is restored, healing the ocean and islands. Te Fiti forgives Maui, repairing his hook and Moana's boat, before turning into an island and falling into a deep slumber. Moana says goodbye to Maui and Te Fiti, then returns to her island of Motunui. She reunites with her family and takes her place as chief and wayfinder. Leading her people, she sets out on a new voyage with Maui watching over them. Moana's search for people before Moana 2. In the years between Moana and Moana 2, Moana spends much of her time exploring nearby islands in hopes of finding more people. It's not until she visits one particular island that this journey yields some potential results. Meanwhile, Maui goes in search of the island of Motufetu, but is captured and held in captivity by Matangi, an enforcer for the storm god Nalo. The journey to Motufetu, Moana 2. While voyaging the seas, Moana stumbles upon a piece of pottery with carvings of people on it. Seeing this as a sign that people do exist outside of Motunui, she brings it back to her island to show the villagers. Back at the village, Moana takes part in a ceremony of her people. During the ceremony, she receives a vision from one of her ancestors, Tautai Vasa, who explains why the connections between the people of the sea are lost. Vasa reveals that the storm god Nalo sank Motufetu, an island that once linked all islands. He warns that Motunui's people will face Nalo's wrath unless Moana raises Motufetu from the depths of the ocean. Determined to fulfill her ancestors' call, Moana gathers a team, and together they set sail, following a meteor's path toward the island of Motufetu. As she journeys across the sea, Moana's crew is captured by the Kakamora, who reveal that Nalu's actions also severed their connection to their home island. They plead for Moana's help in defeating a giant monster clam. Moana's crew attempts to assist, but ends up getting swallowed by the clam. Inside, they discover that the clam hides Matangi's lair. Moana meets Matangi, who reveals that she's merely a prisoner of Nalo. It's here that Moana reunites with Maui, and together again, Matangi helps them escape her lair and points them towards Nalo using a portal. Maui warns that Nalo's realm is far more dangerous than the mortal world. As they approach, Nalo's monsters attack, damaging the raft and stranding them on a lonely island. Moana begins to lose hope, but Maui encourages her to keep going through song. Together, they devise a plan. Maui will lift Motufetu just enough for Moana to touch it, breaking Nalo's curse. The crew repairs the raft and sets out to confront Nalo. As they near their goal, a massive storm threatens their mission. During the storm, Moana realizes that Nalo is actively trying to stop them through tornadoes. So, she tells Maui her plan of distracting Nalo long enough for Maui to lift the island. This plan, for the most part, is a success. However, Nalo realizes what's happening and strikes Maui with lightning, stripping him of his powers. Moana dives in a desperate attempt to touch the island, but is struck and killed by Nalo's lightning. Maui dives down to Moana and finds her lifeless body. He creates a pocket of air on top of Motufetu and places Moana's body on top of Motufetu's peak. Chanting a magical spell, he summons Tautai Vasa and Moana's ancestors, including her grandmother Tala's spirit. Together, they revive Moana as a demigoddess with Wayfinder tattoos. Maui regains his power as well, and with their combined efforts, they finally raise Motufetu. Now that the island is back on the surface and the once severed links are rejoined, people from across the ocean begin making their way to Motufetu. Moana and her crew go to the shoreline to meet these new people. The next day, Moana and her crew lead a fleet of newly reunited ocean people back to Motunui. The island then celebrates Moana's success. As a newfound demigoddess wayfinder, Moana prepares to further connect the people of the sea and continues with her voyage. Meanwhile, Nalo meets with Matangi to discuss her punishment for betraying him. Suddenly, Tamatoa appears, vowing his revenge for what Moana and her crew have done to him. And with that, we have Moana in chronological order. We don't have all of the details yet, so most of this is approximation based off of the information we have. We'll just have to wait for Moana 3 to iron out everything else. Anyway, if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we upload next. Thanks for watching, and remember, Frederator loves you.